We can start, eh? No need to waste time. So, when the Chinese started the TikTok application for you, the first thing you noticed when you went to the bio, even right now, if you change your IP address and when you go to their TikTok, when you go to their social handles, you'll find, for example, when you are registering for TikTok, you have to put in your zodiac sign. So whatever name you are using, your name, you are putting your zodiac sign. So now, that means anyone coming to that bio first gets your name, and then after your name, then they get the what you can call the bio or your zodiac sign. So for example, let's say who's watching, let's say someone like Joroge, so Jahira Joroge, whatever. So it will be Jahira Joroge, Taurus, and years. It will be Joroge, years, the zodiac sign, whichever, Taurus, Aquarius, whatever sign it is, then something else. Why do they do that? It's because in China, they have taught their children, or they have taught everyone to relate with everybody else as an element. AKA, in China, they're already ahead when it comes to avatar, or when it comes to relating with people outside the physical. So they relate with each other through the physical part, through what you call their properties part, or what you call the elements. AKA, if, for example, I know that Kamau is a Taurus sign, and I know that I'm a fire sign, okay, because they can see from the bio, so they know that any communication between the two of us will either end up as Kamau being more affirming, or being more molded with whatever I tell them, because I am fire. It's like when you take fire to some clay. When you fire some clay, it hardens. So it is the same thing. But then again, when you heat the earth too much, then you get the rock molten. Then you get what? You have volcano, or what you can call wet fire, or what you can call Sagittarius energy. Now, so these alignments, or these elements, if it is so important that the Chinese have decided that for anyone interacting with the other, you have to put your zodiac, your element, then how comes, or would it be important to know the same but in your own house? So you know your husband's natures, so you know your wife's natures, so you know your children's metuneta, you know your children's natures, you know that one of your child is a fire sign, you know that the other child is a water sign, you know that the other child is a Taurus, so they are not the same children. So even as you relate with them, you handle them differently depending on their alignments and your alignments. Because a lot of the chaos that we have at homes is just because we don't know self. A lot of the relationship problems that we have today, nowadays, because most of them are trauma bonding, is because of us not knowing selves. So we already didn't know ourselves, and now we are producing children. Now we are coming up in relationships and recycling generations of trauma, recycling generation of or rekindling generational curses without even knowing it. So now, let's talk the whole thing about the marriage. Let's talk about the whole marriage thing. You start to engage story of marriage. The other day I was having a conversation with people, and I said that since everything has evolved, we are in a new world. Even the way you used to communicate with people is not the same. Nowadays you communicate through the phone. Okay? Nowadays you communicate through a text. Nowadays you communicate through a video call. Na vitu kama hizo. So since already communication has changed, how we relate. You can shoot someone an email. Before they were sending letters. Okay? Before we had pen pals. People were sending pen pals. Okay? So everything has evolved from letters. Before even letters, men used to go unapitia karibu na demu wenyu, unatikianga to notes, so you'll always be around your girls places na vitu kama hizo. So that has evolved. Okay, so now since we have evolved in how we communicate, and we know that relationships, what you call marriage na vitu kama hizo, it's all about communication, aka without communication you cannot relate in anything, not just in a relationship, not just in your homes. Without communication you cannot even, the government cannot even reach you. They need the radio, they need the TV. So communication is how you become relatable, or what you call diplomatic, or how you can relate to people. Now, since we have changed how we communicate in so many things, since we are in a new world, we have shifted from the age of Pisces, we're in the new age of where we are the fifth spiritual race, living in the sixth world na vitu kama hizo. So what should we change? Because now these are the kind of conversations I like having. I think that marriage has evolved. We cannot continue looking at relationships the way our father were looking at relationships 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. Again, they did a huge mistake by relating or having a relationship based on what they saw from their fathers and mothers. So we have to understand that each generation, tunaongeanga maneno ya generation Gen Z, Alexa, the baby boomers, all these, each generation should be allowed to handle their relationships. Each generation should be allowed to evolve on how they want to relate. Because these things are not man-made. These things are based on what you can call Uranus, Pluto, and Jupiter, the three planets, okay, that are beyond us now. Why, when we used to have 10 days of a week, so since Uranus, Jupiter, and Neptune went a little bit further away, out of the 10 planets, so we had 7, so we reduced the days to the influence of 7. So we can only receive the energies of what we call Saturn, the planet, on Saturday, the Sabbath. So beyond that, Neptune, Jupiter, and Uranus are too far gone. So those energies can only reach us now on another micro or macro level, filtered through other things. Now, so those will be filtered through your Mercury, because your Mercury is closest to the sun. Okay, na vitu kama hizo. So since we know that we have changes, so the conversations we should be having now is that marriage should evolve. It has already evolved, and a lot of people have not noticed. Because what people want in marriage today is not what our fathers wanted or our great-grandmothers. Nowadays, umeona watu wakisema that they are co-parenting. That is something very new. Ati co-parenting. You're like, what? Wait. So nani anaishi na mtoto? Ati anakaanga na mimi, weekend ni wa baba yake, hiyo weekend, you're like, wait. So who has the custody of the child? Because you know a child needs to have a structure, a foundation. So huyu ni mtoto sasa hata hana foundation. So the mom is cussing with new boyfriend for the sleepover. Maybe the boyfriend pia sasa naye pia akitaka ile time mnamletea kwa parenting ndio inalingana na debu wake sasa, whatever he's doing, her period. So it's becoming very chaotic, and people are normalizing this. Unasikia watu wakisema we are co-parenting. So that is already showing you that marriage is evolving already, or a marriage setup zishaanza ku-evolve, because we have new words, we have new ways of people relating in relationships that we didn't have before. Ati watoto wako na mama yao 1 week, wako na baba yao 1 week, wako na mama yao 1 week, na kila mtu wako na msichana. So wakienda kwa baba yao kuna mama wa msichana, na anaweza badilika. Akienda bado wakirudi kwa mama yao, ati mama yao pia is allowed to bring a boyfriend, is allowed to bring in a man. You know, they are co-parenting, they are not living together, but they have 3 children. Unajua? So these are the type of conversations you should be having. So if marriage is evolving, because it's only humans who are dumb, we are very stupid as human beings, because we accept evolving things. We accept saying we used to be Homo erectus, Homo sapiens, upright man, caveman, We like looking back at how far we have come from when we had no phones, from smoke signals, just 100 years ago. Guka yako tu. Guka yako hakuwa anavaa suruali. Nimesema guka yako hakuwa anavaa suruali. Usifikirie ni kitambo sana. Guka yako hakuwa anavaa suruali. Pengine baba ya guka yako pengine ndio alipata kinyasa. Anything beyond there, it's just the other day. Usifikiria tuko mbali ati oh, that back in the day, it's just 100 years ago. So if 100 years peke yake we had no phone, we have a phone, telegram, phone, mobile phone, digital phones, video calls, all that technology where we are in less than 100 years. So we can see changes. We can see from bicycle or airplane to jet planes to helicopters and planes. We can see it. It has happened under our watch. So if all these changes are happening under our watch, then it's also about time that we change how we are relating. AKA, it's time we change our relationships. Because the more you keep going or trying to relate or date or be in a relationship using the Google, using, your Google scholars, or using YouTube, how to find a boyfriend, how to be attracted to a boyfriend, how to make a boyfriend love you. That is their worldview. But you're forgetting that each generation, you're a different generation, each generation is governed by those major planets on a macro scale. That is why their cartoons and their movies and their shows are based as a particular way with a producer. So he produces the story yenye ameambiwa. This is how we want the world to relate. This is how they want them to look at love. This is how we want them to chase love. This is how we want to make it look like it's such a huge thing to fall in love. Create a story. It's so easy to fall in love. There's no magic in falling in love. But they make it now look like it's something out of the ordinary because they got you living in reverse. So let's talk about evolving the marriage. Enough about them. So in the past, why do I keep kicking my tripod? Stay there. So in the past, we are looking at past marriages. So we are looking at our father's marriages. We are looking at our grandfather's marriages. Those marriages were based on survival. I repeat, our father's marriages were based on survival. So we are looking at the baby boomers. So immediately after what you call, what do you call it? Your so-called independence. So immediately after your so-called independence, your grandfathers, the real grandfathers now who are waiting for the war, not the one who are sitting on the lands, the ones who are fighting for the land, but not the ones sitting on the land. So I'm talking about the grandfathers who are fighting for the land, the foot soldiers, Okay? You have to understand where you are on the pecking order. Are you a survivor in the pecking order? When you look back in your history, was your father always a slave mind? Was your grandfather always a victim? Was he always crying a victim? So he never got land because it was taken by the Mau Mau or whoever. So are you from a lineage of ancestors who are always crying reparations, always getting the short end of the stick? They don't have any land, they don't have anything, they have no wealth to give. Their children always come look for something, okay? Because as a spirit now, when you come to that kind of life, you have to look at that kind of thing and understand that you are related, you are relative to that, so you can be like, why am I getting all that slave mentality? Because that could be the shadow work that you need to do to emancipate yourself from mental slavery. That could be the only lesson that you came through a poor family, to learn that lesson. They don't mean that they are you. So don't associate yourself to a generational curse based on your family. Remember, your family is not yours. You just came through them. You are born alone and you live and die alone. You are an individual spirit. Now, but you have to relate. You have to relate with your relatives and your family. And if you can relate with your relatives and your families, and most of the time these are your biggest enemies, then you can be like God. You can say you are passing the test. So, those marriages were based on survival mode. Because remember, Those grandfathers were in the forest. So when independence, hula hula baloo, drama, peekaboo, theater, show, a show, story, when that story was being told, acted out, that now people have independence, okay, but maintaining the system and taking what we call the booty lickers, the house master, the house niggers, take the house niggers, give them the government, make them answer still to you, but make everybody think that they are in charge. But make sure that the house niggers are always answering to us. Master, master, the house niggers. Give them house niggers some power, give him some chase car, make him think he has power, but he has no power. Okay? Remember, he has no power. You can tell him to put a curfew in his country and he can, but give him a few security, give him a few medals, create something, give him some money to pull an election, make it looks important. Make the people give him power. Let the people look at him like he has power. Make it a law. Say that the head of state is a symbol of national unity. Make them believe in that person even if he's stupid. Okay? So, those parents now, those will be our fathers and mothers, they had to come together for survival. So they came together for survival mode. Because their fathers were in the forest. Their mothers were in the camps being raped and everything. This is the rape, pillage, and the divide and conquer spell that happens everywhere. So it is even happening now. So now, these parents, they came together through trauma for survival. They came together to meet basic needs. So you'll find that your mother only got married to your father because he was coming to Nairobi. Na ndio maana wazazi walikuwa mababa wanafanya kazi Nairobi, wanaendea mabibi nyumbani. Unaona? Na mabibi sasa juu wangeenda mbali na watoto wanaandikwa walimu, the civil servants. But the men unasikia bwanangu alikuwa anafanya Mombasa Polytechnic, bwanangu alikuwa anafanya ametumwa mahali na government, walikuwa wameandikwa na Lexo Oil kama mechanical engineer, ama chief engineer, walikuwa wanaweka matanks ya mafuta. So the men were away. So it was for survival, to meet basic needs and to procreate. Sasa ndio ulikuwa unaona babako alikuwa anakuja nyumbani Friday, wenye waliandikwa kwa jeshi walikuwa wanaoza wazazi wao Friday, unless unaishi kwa kambi ama unasikia kwa Itetu, Air Boys Itetu, Nyanyuki, Lanet, wapi, so wanakuja nyumbani mwisho wa mwezi wenye walikuwa wameandikwa jeshi na vitu kama hizo. Okay? So that kind of setup or marriage is survival. But today people want relationships that are based on a partnership. Saizi hakuna mtu ataka hiyo jinga. Kila mtu ataka to be in a relationship where you feel like you are a partner. They want someone who's emotionally engaged. Because remember, everyone is earning. The women are earning, the men are earning. Hata kama ni kwa soko, kila mtu anajihangia. So people are only looking for an emotional support when they get home. They want to feel emotionally supported. They don't want anyone they can parent. Hakuna bibi saizi anataka mwanaume anakaa ni kama you are mothering that man, unambembeleza, utakula my love saa zote na nini. No, women want now, the kind of relationships we have with the shift is partnerships kind of relationships, aka people who are emotionally available for you. When you get home, you want a lady who is emotionally available to listen to you. The same way for the women, they want a man who's emotionally available to give their thought on that. But sasa simu zilikuja, kila mtu wako kwa simu, kila mtu wako kwa... And to get to that, you have to be healed. You cannot be emotionally available for anyone unless you are healed. And healing takes a lot of work. Na hakuna mtu ataka kufanya kazi. No one wants to do any shadow work. You'd rather go and drink, you'd rather go and follow European football than deal with the shit at home. You know you cannot relate with that woman in the house, but you are keeping it going for the show. Man, you go to church, what will they say? Man, mwanamke ako na matako, uwezi muachilia. Juu wanaume walikuambia, hiyo uwezani, ukawambia nini, hii nitaweka kwa nyumba. Now you know you can't because you are emotionally unresponsive or unsupportive to each other because relationships have evolved. Relationship ya siku hizi inataka partnership. These are the days of was it Josiah who was this guy who was saying that 7 women will look for one man. Ni Joshua, no, was it Joshua? Whatever that verse is where they are saying that one man will have 7 women wanting him. See, wanting him for anything is for emotional support. AKA, some women are going to find, oh, that man can be there emotionally for me, he can listen. Okay, na ndio maana wanatorokeanga kwa pastors, because those pastors are on the lost side. At least they are emotionally available, because they stroke the emotions to get their money. You know, when you kina Dr. Lin, you know, when hizo Ngugi show, unajua kitu yote iko na oh my god, oh aki, oh yeah aki, oh, and you know I aborted that inch with oh my god, but you know God is merciful. I thank God for aborting that teen children. Here I am now, I'm a changed woman. But you know, I was going through a lot. Oh, people love that emotional hook and they give money to that. It's so low vibrational, but people know how to capitalize on that. Okay, people know how to capitalize on that. So a lot of the people who are advising you on relationships on the internet are not going to tell you the basic truth, because they want the emotional hook, because that is what makes you donate. Oh my God, yeah, I remember when my husband left me. Oh, you know, I was only barely 3 months pregnant and oh my God. Akina Ngugi show. Weakness shows. Those are the shows our men are watching. Weakness shows. 80% when you subscribe ni wanaume. Weakness shows. Anyway, so now, the people we have today, the partnerships we have today, the women or the men, they want someone who knows how to show up. Women want someone who can show up. Akikwambia ni event, just show up at the event, maze. Usimwambia ati kulienda kukaa, hapana, just show up. Just show up. Because we are coming from a place where our parents never showed up. Ulikuwa unaenda sports day, they never showed up. You graduated alone, your parents never showed up. You took yourself to college, your parents never showed up. Your parents don't even want to show up in your dowry. So nowadays, people are looking for partners who can show up. So, partner wako ukimwangalia hivi aone huyu anaweza kosa kukuja mahali. They feel that let down. They feel that energy that they have been receiving from their parents. Your parents or your partners want someone who can listen to them. You know, someone who is listening. Unajua? And they are listening with the maturity to solve a problem. It doesn't matter kama atakusikiza. Akwambia, let me give you an answer tomorrow. And then they go and dive into that. Ikuwe tu aende akae chini internet. Problem. What is this problem? How can it be resolved? Who is an expert? Listen to this on YouTube. So when you get back to having that conversation together, you have an idea about that problem. Those are the kind of partnerships people want today. See, leaving everything to God. Now you are driving in traffic. Hata muongeleshani. You have a nice car, Subaru Outback. But kutoka mtoke kwa gate. The only conversation you have ni ukimshukisha stage, ni kuweke hapo anafungua mlango, anachukua handbag yake, anabang mlango, pu. Look at your marriage now. Na mtarudi kwa nyumba moja zioni, but you can't stand each other because you are trying to relate based on old energies. We are in new times. We need to come up with new relationships. Those are the kind of conversations you should be having on my... that is why I love... my platform is for having difficult conversations. Okay? That is how you change the world. Not always running from the problem. We have problems. So how do we deal with these problems? Okay? People wake up every day. Every day. You wake up and you realize, oh, everything I'm doing it alone. You're a content creator. You have your spouse. You wake up one day and you realize, man, I've been creating content alone. And I'm not saying that you have to create content with your relationships or with your people and partners. I'm just giving an example whereby you find that you have been living alone. Ndio unaishi na mtu kwa nyumba, but you have been living alone. If you're the woman, maybe the man pays the bills of the house, but everything else is you. Sasa, kupika, ni wewe. House chores, ni wewe. You never lift a cup. Mko na washing machine, haezi hata chukua nguo zake yake kwa washing machine, ama aweke nguo zenyu kwa washing machine, awashe, aweke sabuni awashe, aset, unajua itapiga, ikamue na rinse. Atuo kikuja ni kuanika tu, hapana. Everything, you feel like you're doing everything in that relationship alone. Ndio mko naye, but everything ni wewe. Homework ni wewe. Report form ni wewe unaangalianga. Mikutano ya shule ni wewe. Hata bill za maji na stima zikikuja, wewe ndio unakuanga wa kwanza kuzishika before zimfikie. Na hata unaweza muwekea hapo ikae hapa 1 week. So those kind of relationships, they don't have a time now, because the kind of relationships now we have is a kind of a partnership relationships, where you want people who are there for you, not just saying they love you, but you want people to show up. You want men to man up. It doesn't have to be a lot, but at least you want men to, mow the lawn. Unajua, mwanaume at least avae, at least siku moja tu achukue ringa. Hata kama atapata blisters, atanunua glove. Women want to see men taking manly roles. Hata kama uko na mtu wa kazi, wacha mtu wa kazi unamwambia leo uniachie fence ile zaini, mimi ndio nakata na makazi na ngazi, nitakata hiyo side moja. Not because that is what you are supposed to be doing, but because the relationships we should be having today is partnership, and women want to see you being a partner in one way, shape or another. It's not about the money. It's not about where unakaa chini unalipa bills zote. No, women need to see that active masculine participation in relationships. People who come to me for marriage counseling na vitu kama hizo, and I'm not saying I'm a marriage counselor. You know me, I'm a teacher in many things. However, the conversations zenye tunakuanga nazo zinakuanga very different. Not the normal conversations that you have, because we like going deep. That man never saw his father raise or even lift a plate. So he never saw it. So he has to learn it. He has to see that it's also okay kutoa hiyo sahani upeleke kitchen ukienda kwenye unaenda. Unajua? So since he never saw that as an example when he was growing up, it becomes very hard to have this kind of conversations. Now, relationships za leo, people want to feel like they are a team. Let me show you how you know this. Ukiangalia content creators wengi wenye umeona, mtu anaanzanga peke yake. After some time, akina Jogosh, akina Banodhia, akina nani, akina Bahanye, after some time, unaona wameshikana. Unaona imekuwa ni kama ni a team. Akina Sue, I make food for my husband. After some time, you're like, wait a minute. How comes content creator akianza kitu, hata kama ni dancer, wanawana? How comes watu ni comedians, akina Professor Hamo, after some time wanapata watoto wanawana? So what is this thing? It is showing you that we are in partnership kind of relationships, where everybody wants to partner with someone. They can do something almost or almost the same thing. Nimeumwa hapa kuna dhuia hapa. My dogs na hizi stray dogs napenda kuja kukaa hapa nje, so nimeumwa, so I'm scratching my foot. So now dog flea. So tulikuwa wapi? The dog flea distracted me before I look at the comments. I wanted first of all to finish this before I look at the comments, because I don't want to be distracted. The moon is in Aquarius, and when the moon is in Aquarius I get distracted a lot, because anything I look at becomes information for me. So naweza angalia comment yako, hii topic yote ipotee. So that is why nowadays it's becoming very easy for divorce to happen. And the reason is because the relationships you are having, people are looking for evolution. So if someone is in a relationship with you and they don't see an evolution, they don't see growth, they'd rather divorce. So keyword, evolution. Not growth like that, but they want to see an evolution. They want to see yourselves evolve. Mukianza relationship, kama mumeanza in a bed sitter, the kind of partnerships we have today, they want after 2 years muone mumeingia 1 bedroom. After another 1-2 years mumeingia 2 bedroom. Mkipata watoto. And then mkiwa kwa hiyo 2 bedroom ama 3 bedroom, after 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years before muende sana, they want to see yourself in your own land or in your own car. So the relationships are becoming evolving relationships. No one wants to be in a relationship nowadays that is not evolving. And you know, a lot of women are even choosing to live alone. Okay, a lot of women are choosing to stay alone because we should be having partnerships of evolving. If there's no that energy of evolving, because the world is evolving, and we've just moved into the new age, so that's like cardinal. Okay, so we are initiating into that new age. So everything is about evolving. Spirituality is evolving. Their new world order is evolving. Their world economic, all those things. It's about planting. It's like we are in Aries in the new age, in the beginning. So even when it comes to your relationships, they have to change the way you relate. Your marriages, they have to become partnerships whereby you are based on evolving. So this means, does this person want to evolve with me spiritually, or does this one person wants to be stuck back in the old? They can see it's not working. It's not been working for 2,000 years, 6,000 years. They can see it's not been working because it was not working for their grandmother. It was not even working for their great grandmother, because there's still pain and misery and no happiness. But now there's something new. So if you're not evolving with your partner, that is becoming a challenge. Okay? Because, and the reason people are not evolving is because they are stuck in the old energy of relationships, and the way they are maintaining that is by the movies they are giving you. So they give you still movies like Akina Barbie. They give you these love stories, and they know how to time the right time to release this moving, the right alignment. So since you are based on a world view, you think, oh, this is how you are supposed to love. Oh, this is how we are supposed to do our relationships, even if we have been told to keep our distance. Oh, this is how we are supposed to have these relationships in the future, even if some of them have to have visited the stab tent or not. So, so because they know that their worldview has always worked, you are missing the point. You are missing that you should be evolving your relationships now. A lot of your marriages should be, and you should, because now you can, because you're already inside them, you have to adapt. Both of you have to be in a position where you're like, okay, now it's about time that we heal our traumas. We're not going to separate. However, I'm going to work on my trauma, and you're going to work on your trauma. Because if I really care about you, in quotes, love, then I would want the best for you. But I can't do it for you. So can all of us work on our trauma? Because this trauma is what is causing all these issues that we're even having, and we may end up repeating a generation curse on our children. So those are the kind of partnerships or relationships we should be having now. Not fighting, not fight or fright. Okay? These are new times. In your marriages, partnerships, kind of relationships now, where you're having mature conversations, because now you are healing together. Okay? So we have to evolve the communication. The communication has to evolve, because relationships is communication. 90% of relationships is communication, and communication is emotional maturity. And a lot of people, our parents, our grandparents, even us, we are still very emotionally immature, because we don't like work, we don't like shadow work. When you are triggered, that's a good thing. When you are triggered, that's a good thing, because it means you have some wounds that you have not dealt with, because that thing is still affecting you, and it shouldn't be affecting you still. So instead of blocking that person, deal with your wound. Understand, oh shit, that's something I should deal with. But you can't go around blocking people. How many people will you block in your life? The irony. You are the one who's doing the blocking. Everything is reversed in this world. So the moment you block someone, you're not blocking that person. Okay? You are blocking the lesson that you're supposed to learn from that. Now, as marriage evolves, as communication evolves, people now, the partners, now you and the people you are, you want different things. Gone are the days where a lady used to do what the man wanted. So nowadays, if you want to hike, you can hike, even if your husband does not like hiking. If he wants to bike, he can bike. It's easier if you have, or you find a way of finding things that you can do together. Okay? But most of the relationships, as we are, since they are accidental, you're already stuck with people who, where you love different things already. So now, what you need is an emotional connection, because you like different things. You need an emotional connection to those people. And this is something that in the past people didn't require. You didn't require that emotional connection too much because, I mean, the wife was supposed to be home. Duh. The man is around, the wife is at home, so why connect to them emotionally, deeply, on an emotional level, while they are your property? So that was not important. But now your wife your wife has to jump on a plane, travel. Your husband has to go on a trip for 2 years, then come back. Your children have to travel abroad for university education. So now it's calling for a deeper emotional connection to those people because distance is coming in between. So we have to start talking about that also, that we need a deeper emotional connection just based on the fact that even the relationships we have will be tried even more. Travel, business, education, and things like those ones. So this calls for a more emotional connection. We can't just go on like we used to do in the past when father, mother, and child would be in the same house until they leave the house. Now you have your children in boarding schools already. That's something very new. But no one is speaking about those kind of emotional connections now. No one is speaking these conversations. You only have the old Google Scholar, YouTube kind of relationship gurus who try to tell you how to deal with your children. They even have created manuscripts and books on how raising a teenager, raising a child, 1 to 5 stage developmental stage, how to relate. Men are from Venus. No, no, no. Every generation has got its own terms and conditions. And we should be having these conversations that every generation needs to relate depending on its generation. We cannot go on with these old generational traumas, generational curses, baggage based on our grandmothers or our fathers or our great grandmothers. Those were them. Our parents, that was them. It's us now. Then it will be our children and their children's children. So each generation has to adapt. And the people who are not having these conversations are the people who are washed under the currents. The people who have these kind of conversations, the Chinese, they are taking over the world. People lost in religion are getting the short end of the stick. So the question would be, what is that one thing that you want in your relationship that you think you can change or adapt? That's your question on the comments. Now let's see the questions. Let's see let's see who has asked a question. Let's see who has been hitting the screen. Of course, I'm under 10,000 likes because I'm speaking bullshit. I'm saying knowledge is never appreciated. Nowadays, people practice polygamy by have one partner at a time. Shout out to Leopard. Very true, bro. Didn't get your name. Shout out to Samuel Toure, Vikings Tosh. Hello. Hello. That is Nje. Leopard, and they call it monogamous. Leopard is still there. Shout out to Leopard. If there's any question. Dayo Jega Murira Ikiheya or something. Shout out to you. Deno Moja, Gary the Great, Hussein. Shout out to all of you. No question. Shout out to Nyambura. Amanda Cody. Jenga na pale our partners bado wako stuck kwa the old Wajiromo Shera. Rework to be done because we finding that one partner is willing, the other is still in the dark. Yeah, divorce is very right. Knowledge is really appreciated. I was just listening. No. So now, so this is the thing. No one said this is going to be easy because as a collective also, remember, as a collective, you have been programmed by so many things. So it's not just the TV, it's not just the movies, it's even your parents, it's even the people you relate to it at work. So how they look at relationship, they influence you, they impact you. You can see it everywhere. The way people speak, the way they look at you. If you don't have a ring, there are places where maybe, like for example, if you're traveling in Dubai as a lady, you need to put on a marriage ring. So they look at you, they leave you alone. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't have one, you may do something. They call the cops on you. Okay. Na vitu kama hizo. So as a collective, not just in your location, you are going. This is an uphill. That is why they say in the Bible that it's an uphill battle every day. However, what you are practicing, look at it like a ritual and spell. What the ritual and spell that you are practicing of understanding that we are in a new shift and doing your best to make your partner understand that the relationships we need now is freedom. People want relationships where there's freedom. Okay, freedom to go do what they like because they don't want trauma bonding, and maybe that freedom is what they need so they can go heal. Okay, maybe actually that freedom would even work for you. It would even work for your relationship as a man. The freedom you give her could be the healing she needs. She may even go out there, she may even go out there, she may even sleep out there. You know, it's none of your business. She can do whatever she wants, and maybe through that she may actually find her healing. And now when she comes back to you, she can even relate to you even in a better way because she'll have understood that you have these shortcomings, and now she's even going to even work with you, having found out that it was not her problem. She didn't have a problem, because even a lot of women think they have problems, and we also have a lot of men who think they have problems. And this is why when women go out there and they are loved better, the first instinct is always to like run. They're like, shit, I didn't know this existed out there, because it's a very new world. Okay, but that is what they need maybe to heal. Like, oh, okay, oh, oh, actually I have trauma. I've never been loved like this. I've never felt like this. I've never. Oh, oh, I need to work on myself also. I need to heal on this also. So, and this goes in both ways, both ways. Okay, and also understanding that the partner that you have, like attracts like, was also attracted to because there's something you saw in them that triggered something that you are familiar with. Maybe you love suffering, and maybe one day they shouted at you, and since you are familiar with that, you actually don't even know why you love them, but you loved your absent father, but you used to shout. So this man shouts at you, he reminds you of your father, and you loved your father, though he was absent. You yearn for your father, so he feels that father figure. So you trauma bound to this guy. So the next time he's going to slap you, but you saw your father slap your mother, and you loved your father, though he was never home. So you stay with him. So it's you have to do a lot of shadow work. You have to even ask yourself why you stay in an abusive relationship. Not why they abuse you, why you stay. And not just why you stay, but where it became very clear for you that it was okay to be abused or to allow that. You get that? So, who made it seem okay to allow that? Na vitu kama hizo. And most of the time is usually family, extended, the grandmothers, the families, or people who are very close to you who enable that to happen. Sasa. Yep. So I have worn a wedding ring before, saying I was married to myself. It helped though. Shout out to Amanda for loving self. Yeah, it has to start with yourself. But the moment you go to a point of putting a ring, someone should have put a ring on that finger. Put a ring on that finger. But it's good to love yourself. It's good to appreciate. When you love yourself, to love yourself means that you have appreciation of self, or you feel appreciated enough. Anyone who loves themselves is someone, when they go out in life, they feel appreciated. If you don't feel appreciated wherever you go, you lack self-love. So if you want to be accepted out there, you need to do some self-loving. Okay, some Marvin Gaye, some self-loving. So that self-loving reflects as esoterically speaking, some appreciation energy around you. So everywhere you go, people start appreciating you because you are more likable, you are more calm, you are more mature, you are more presentable, you are more less chaotic na vitu kama hizo. So you are more appreciated. So you even find love, like you attract love, if that is something. Okay, but there's no love in this world. Love is such a huge frequency for this world, because you know in this world love kills and it shouldn't. So wrong starting points na vitu kama hizo. Shout out to who? Mimi Kick says, am I jaded if I don't believe in the forever after? I feel like some partnerships are limited. Yes, that's a very good thing also. So you are not meant to stay with your spouse forever. There are some people who come into your life and they're supposed to serve a purpose, just a time, and then they're supposed to allow you to continue. But since they have made it look like it's such a bad thing, so you are stuck in forevers that you shouldn't have. Learn to let go. And this is why some of you have been stuck in relationships that are abusive for so long, because you don't know how to let go of something. It's always good to let go of something after it has served its purpose. We have very mature conversations. For example, me and Munjiro, we have very mature conversations where we even have conversations of what if we are blocking each other's paths of whatever we are doing. Like, what if we should separate? And not because we don't agree on anything, but just because we are like, okay, so what if we are blocking each other's dreams and imaginations? Maybe you want to do this and this, but here we are, like, we are thinking we should. So those kind of conversations are very little, okay? And then the conversation will be like, okay, that's an option, yeah, but see, we'll have failed. Like, I mean, that's like saying we couldn't figure it out. See, we can see how we can still do the same thing you like doing and me, and still be, you know, make it work. That's another option. So those kind of conversations, not all relationships are meant forever. Some relationships are meant for 5 years, 10, 20, 50 years. So because when you are, what is the purpose of a relationship? The purpose of a relationship is to come together, is to relate on a common goal, where you want to live, where you want to take your schools, where you want to go on holiday. So a relationship should be, you are agreeing on common goals. That should be the first step before anything else. But that is not what is leading a lot of people in relationships. So there are some people who come into your life to give you a lift in life. But once they have given you that lift, you should be, thank you very much. That is the boost I needed. You gave me a ticket out of here. Shalom, or whatever words you like using, and you keep it moving. No, no. So those are conversations we should be having also. Because when you look at it now, even in the animal kingdom, you have seen animals rescue animals. Like an animal of prey rescues another animal or protects that animal not to be eaten until that animal gets away. Like, fight the other animals until that thing gets away. And then it's like, I'm going to deal with everything later. Like, it's so weird. It's just that people don't even know how to look at these things in life, because you're looking at these things in books. You can see it in nature. You can see it in nature. You can see, not just, you can see people being given tips. You can see people being given a startup in life, a donation, for no reason. There are people who come into your life to be like a clutch, okay? The same way you have a clutch, which is made from a tree, and tree represents stability, growth, something you can lean on. There are some people who come into your life as a clutch for you to lean on until you can get back on your feet. And it's okay. These are the kind of conversations we should be comfortable with, because we are in a new world, okay? The Bible says, my people shall perish for lack of knowledge. I say that my people shall perish for not expanding or not shedding the old. How are you going to get new if you don't shed the old? You are going to have a cup full. Okay, it's time to empty the cups now. It's the age of Aquarius. Empty your cup. Let's go and get that water bearer. pouring something into our cups. Don't go to the water bearer to get water when you already have overfilled old energies, trauma, curses, okay? Old energies don't work anymore in a new world. So, yeah, you don't have to be stuck in those relationships of the old. And the thing is, don't look for anyone as an example to come and start this. Start with yourself. Start this evening. Say, I feel we should be having more conversations in this house. And I don't like it when you ignore me because I'm a grown up, and you also don't like when I ignore you. How about we just start with 5 minutes? Hata nitakuwa naweka timer just tujaribu tu just 5 minutes to see if you can talk about anything. You may shout at me, I know. I may not be happy or I may shout, but let's try something, That's all. Maybe you start with 5 minutes and you find they have been waiting for the same. After 1 week, no one can separate you now during your dinner talks. You don't even pick your calls. You are becoming friends again. You used to be friends when you met, then you became enemies. Now you are frenemies. Now you are becoming friends with your lovers again. Now you are starting afresh. Still can be done. I mean, why go and start afresh with someone new? Ladies, why divorce a man? Then go look for another man to start from zero. Duh. You at least you know this one. At least you know his smelly boxers. You know all about his hairy balls. At least he has been putting effort now. You have to go and teach another man how to shave his balls because you like them shaved. Also, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of just heal yourself and heal together. It's beautiful when people heal together. If it's possible to heal together, it's beautiful. If you have or in a position where you can have a conversation with your partner and you can change together for the better, it's beautiful. Because God is a respecter of persons. Okay? God is not a respecter of one person. He likes a team. So when you work on your relationship as a team, both of you as a team, and understand that we're in new worlds. Okay? So we need new partnerships, kind of thinking, not the old. Don't judge your partner based on a movie you saw or some music. Fuck Boys the Two Men, fuck Dr. Dre, fuck all those I wanted to say Drew Hill. All that in those jeans, all that music, it was good, it was beautiful, it served its purpose, it's gone. Let's create new music today. Our own music today. Our own frequency. Our own generation. But let's make sure that this generation, the way we relate, these partnerships, are for healing. It doesn't matter how they look like, but they are for healing. You are, you are healing. They are healing. We are raising a healing generation. That's it. Any other things they want to come say, oh, that's not how you relate. No, that's not how they relate. It's about you. How do you relate? You're number two. Because how are you going to ascend if you cannot even relate? You are still stuck on relating, number two. Imagine, you're still on the second dimensional world when it comes to relating. You're still very egotistical, very individualistic. You're still on vibration one. You may think you are high vibrating spirit, but you are high frequency, but you are vibrating very low. So when you look at you, you are speaking the right things. You seem to be doing the best magic. You seem to be having the solutions, but you are vibrating very low. Your vibration is one dimensional. You are very individualistic. You are very egotistical. It's about your way or no way. It's about your means or no means. I look at your relationships. You can't relate. So the second dimension, you can't relate. You can't even be diplomatic to anyone. You are too gullible. You are being used or you are using people in your relationships. Then I look at your surroundings. You are 3D. You don't seem to have your surroundings in check. Things look chaotic. I look at your thoughts, number 4. The way you are thinking is not right. I look at how you are feeling, number 5, about your thoughts. The way you are expressing them is not right. I look at what you are paying attention to. It's too righteous. It's too my way only. It's too we are the only people. It's too we are the only ancestors. It's too we are the true people. No, you got it wrong. That's not how you do it. That triangle has both sides. Okay? I look at what you are judging, number 7, what you are spending time with, and I come to my wisdom that you are reading or you are doing everything in reverse. Okay? It's that easy. It's easier to say it's some work, but it's just that easy. 1 to 9. The issue is the mask that we wear. If you can only be real with each other, like you said. Yeah, but everybody wears a mask, unfortunately. Unfortunately, everybody wears a mask. It's a spiritual's nature to always bend in on itself to create a mind or a mask or a reflection. But it's again easy. All you have to do is understand. Females, divine feminine just means you are vulnerable. So when I say vulnerable, I know a lot of people will be like, what do you mean women have to be vulnerable? Divine feminine means to be vulnerable, in short. So let me read the definition of define vulnerable.
Here's the definition of venerable. Accorded a great deal of respect, especially because of age, wisdom, or character.
That is the definition of vulnerable. So women, vulnerable means worshipped, esteemed, acclaimed, celebrated, distinguished, renowned, glorious, eminent, legendary, great, respectable, noted, worthy, honorable, decent, notable. So divine feminine means you have to be vulnerable. You have to be those things first. Now, when it comes to wearing masks, vulnerable. That's vulnerable. I want vulnerable. Yeah, that sounded very wrong, Cody. That sounded very wrong. Even in my head, I'm like, that's not the definition I wanted. Vulnerable. Vulnerable. Yes. It's my tongue. Yes. Exposed to the divine masculine means exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed. So it is women need to be unarmed, unshielded, exposed, wide open, okay, defenseless. But now this is on the esoteric side now, because by default women are containers. Women are master manifestors. Women are like open portals. Okay? So the moment you become too masculine, you block yourself from those energies because you're supposed to be open to gifts. You're supposed to be open to learning. But when you become too masculine, you block yourself. You block yourself to experiences and things of that nature. Shout out to Cody. Vulnerable, is the tongue. Is the tongue. Now, if there's no more question, what was today's topic? We are talking about what now? Spoke about relationships, yeah, partnership kind of relationships, the new relationships, marriage evolving, yes. What else did we talk about? I have forgotten everything we spoke about. Okay, totally forgotten. I can't remember. That is wow. Oh, it's a good thing at the same time, because that shows you just how unattached I am to the world. Like, that shows you how once it's done, it's done. Serves no purpose. I don't even need to add to that weight. The message is out there. My cup is open for more. I think that was it. I think I covered it all. We did. I think we did. Yeah, we did. We did. We did. Let me add on something then. In my book, it's called the title. Let's talk about, forget about John. Let's see if there's anything to remind people. Okay. Every day is an uphill battle. And beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. That is all for today. I'm actually very thankful that I can understand you. Shout out to Amanda. Shout out to Lydia. Hey Jenga, was today class Q&A? You can ask a question, Wanja. And thank you for asking. If you can ask a question. You can ask a question. Each one teach one. We learn from questions. So you can ask. How do I get out of... Oh my God. That's a beautiful question though. That's a very beautiful question. The question, however, should be, how do you quiet your mind? How do you quiet your mind? Because remember, you created your mind. The mind is what you use to observe everything. Okay? So the question should be, how do I quiet my mind? Remember, the body mimics the mind. Okay? And the mind mimics the state of being your spirit in. So whatever state of being your spirit in, whatever state of being your spirit is in, okay? And remember, remember I reminded you how to travel in the spiritual world, okay? So when you need to feel, or when you need to travel up in the spiritual world, let's say in the spiritual world, you've been going down. So when you need to travel up in the spiritual world, what you do in the physical world is you become optimistic. You start becoming optimistic. So that means your spirit will travel up in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. So if you want to go down in the spiritual world, all you have to go is go into deep feelings that put you in a depressing mood. So depression means you are traveling down in the spiritual world. If you want to go to the right in the spirit world, if you want to go to the right, if you want to turn to the direction, what are you calling right as a direction, in the spiritual world, you start doing something that you feel is righteous. So when you are feeling righteous about something, that means you are traveling to the right as a direction. When you want to separate from something, aka the left-hand path, okay? When you want to go to the left in the spiritual world, you take the left-hand path, or you separate from something. You put a distance to that person. So that means you are taking the left-hand path. When you want to go backwards in the spirit world, let's say you want to travel backwards, then you start having regret. So any energy of regret, things not being done, or of the past, means your spirit is going back. When you want to move forward in the spiritual world, then you have to, what does it mean to travel forward? I said up, optimistic, back is regret, right is righteousness, left is the separating left hand, down is depression, There's one remaining. Go if you want to move forward in life. I don't know. Let's ask Google. Let's see if Google knows. Google knows a lot of things. Define to move forward.
According to Wiktionary, the Free Dictionary, to cause to make progress. To make progress. This meeting is intended to help us move forward on the new project. To modernize.
No,
to
no, no, no.
reschedule for an earlier date or time.
No. No, that's not it. It's like advancing. So when you want to move forward, you have to feel like you're advancing. You like put yourself in a place where you advance something, you update something. So in the spirit world, it means you are advancing or going forward. Why was I explaining this? Why was I even talking about all this? Um, how do I get out of my mind? Yeah. So that's the reason why we came here. So your mind, you'll never be out of your mind because your mind is your memory. Your mind is the memory of what you can call the footprints in the sand for your spirit, where you have been, your experiences. Now, those experiences may be different in this dimension, but it's just an experience. In this dimension, it may be a harsh experience, physical, you have to go through pain, but in other dimensions or realms of existence, it may be an experience that doesn't have to go through those harsh conditions, but it's an experience of a lesson or something you have to go through. Okay? So you'll never be out of your mind because that's your memory. However, if what you are saying is taking your mind into other thought forms that are beyond, you can do that. So you can create mind states that you can jump into. As a spirit, you jump into that mind state to experience those experiences. Okay, and it's like creating bubbles. It's like, for example, let me make it clear for you why it will never be a clear line for you. Let's say you put a detergent in some water and you shake the water. So when the bubbles form, and then another bubble forms on that one, and then another bubble forms on that one. Meaning, from this bubble's point of view, it's two shaded. Though they are all bubbles experiencing the same waters, this realm of existences, these other bubbles, become too dark, they become too many reflections to you. So you can see things the same. So you have to, unless you're in that bubble, to see that bubble's point of view. I think I even lost you more. I don't know. Maybe you got it. There's no way I can explain it to you in a simpler way. Stuck between self-growth and awakening. How can I balance? What do you mean self-growth and awakening? Awakening is realization. So once you have realized and you're stuck by self-growth, because they're supposed to go together. But I know you're like, oh shit, now that I know this, how do I go on with this, or how do I continue with this? Today you are so calm. It's like you are sad. Thank you. How to connect with our ancestors. There's so many videos on how you can connect with your ancestors on YouTube, please. That one you can check on YouTube, because I don't want to jump into the whole subject. I don't even like calling them ancestors. I like calling them spiritual predecessors. Okay? Because some ancestors are not even yours. I mean, people get adopted. People are sold into other families. So how are you even sure that those are your ancestors? I mean, there are so many people who don't even know right now that they are adopted. There are so many people who don't even know right now that their fathers are not their real fathers. So that means you have different ancestors. But your mother never told your daddy that she cheated on her, and so you are stuck on generation curses following your father's ancestors. You don't even know if he's your real father. So I like calling them spiritual predecessors, because that way, then when you're working in the spiritual world, you reach for your true spiritual predecessors, not what you think based on culture, and a culture is cultivated out of a cult or a law or a government. thought your right hand gives energy and your left hand receives energy. Yeah, that's how it does, yeah. Like she has to be in touch with her thoughts to be more aware and in sync. Especially for her being a lady, she's already lost in her emotions. Okay, so she should be less of her emotions and more on her thought, logic. When you look at the zodiac sign or the zodiac system, and you understand that your south node and your north node act as opposites. So when you go to your chart, you find that it works the same way. So if you're let's say you're a Taurus, directly behind me as a Taurus is a Scorpio. So for me to even have it easy, I should be more of a Scorpio. So I should try to be more emotional in how I deal with things, because I may be stubborn because of all that Taurus energy and being masculine, because that would help me get to understand myself more. Now, as a lady, you should not be like a man. You're missing the point. However, you should tap into that masculine energy of thought, logic, externalizing, sometimes speaking your mind, okay? Not just in your feelings. And that again would help you become better. It's all about understanding the opposite energies and working with them. Na vitu kama hizo. I'm a moon in Taurus and I don't like Mondays because the moon is always at home. The moon is exalted in Taurus. So even when the moon is in other signs, Mondays are like that for me. And again, I could also be, I know how to get myself out of those situations also. If I tap into that, I really tap into those, what the word you use is too heavy, sad. I don't tap into sadness. That's a too heavy a word. And sometimes I could be also on a frequency. I could be riding a wave where I get on that low frequency, but I know how to get myself out of that. So that should never be an issue. Sasa. So shout out to everyone who came. If there's no more questions, we can end the live. No more question, we can end the live. And then we can say each one teach one. Teamwork makes the dream work. Kenny Harron is a Leo. That means, if you're a Leo son, that means you like showing off. You like speaking over people. You like being seen. You're like the sun, always shining. Even when it's a cloudy day, people have to know about you. So I hope your parent didn't brutalize you too much because you are speaking over everybody. Me, mom. When the visitors come, you'd come and tell the visitor, Allah, honor my pen. See my pen. The visitor is like, I've seen. You know my pen. Your mama is like, talk up. So I hope they didn't do that to you, but I know they did. So Leos are a good sign. They are people pleasers, so they get taken advantage by people. So as a Leo, try to understand that it's not always about you. As the fire sign, try to understand that sometimes it's not always about you. Sometimes it's good to keep your mouth shut and observe, okay? Yeah, don't be like the sun, always trying to shine. Even when it's raining, you're still shining, creating rainbows. Sasa, don't be too stubborn, don't be too egotistical. The sun is the fifth house, and the sun is all about ego. That is why Leo is symbolized by the lion. A pride of lion is all about having a pride. Maybe you like wearing bright colors. Shout out to you. Sasa. Amanda is like, how did you know I'm a Taurus dealing with a Scorpio? So it's written in the stars. So, yeah. Do have a beautiful Monday. Ciao, ciao.